Hello, welcome to Science Popcorn. Today, I want to talk about something fascinating and maybe even a little controversial. Is everything in life an addiction? This theory has been in my mind for some time, and today I want to explore it with you. We are going to unpack what addiction really means, how it works in the brain, and whether life itself is just a series of interconnected addictions. So grab your tea or coffee, sit back, and let's dive in. What is addiction? Imagine a little child eating their very first piece of candy. The sweetness explodes in their mouth, and they feel an instant wave of happiness. What they are feeling is not just the sugar, it is dopamine, which is the feel-good chemical in the brain. Dopamine rewards us when we do something pleasurable. It is the brain's way of saying, "That was great, let's do it again." Now, let's move forward in time. The child is now an adult. They still enjoy candy, but something has changed. It is no longer just a treat, it has become a craving. Their brain has been trained to expect that dopamine every time they eat something sweet. The more they indulge, the more their brain demands, and suddenly they find themselves eating candy not for the joy of it, but because they need it. This is how addiction begins. And while candy may seem harmless, the same pattern applies to almost anything that triggers dopamine, whether it is food, social media, gambling, or even relationships. How does the brain get hooked? Let's take a closer look at what happens inside the brain. Our brains have something called the reward system. Whenever we do something enjoyable like eating, laughing, or achieving a goal, our brain releases dopamine. It is a reward for good behavior, and it motivates us to repeat that action. But here is the problem. Modern life has found ways to exploit this system. Take gambling as an example. Slot machines are not designed to give you big wins every time. In fact, they are programmed to let you lose more often than you win. But here is the twist. The anticipation of winning is enough to trigger dopamine. Even losing can keep you addicted because your brain keeps thinking, maybe next time will be my big win. The same thing happens with social media. Every notification, every like or comment gives you a tiny dopamine hit. It feels good, so you keep checking your phone. Over time, you need more likes and more engagement to feel the same level of satisfaction. Before you know it, you are scrolling for hours, wondering where your day went. This is not just a habit, it is a cycle of dependency, and once you are in it, it can be very hard to break free. Can we be addicted to everything? Now let's take this idea further. Can we really be addicted to everything? Think about relationships. When you fall in love, it is one of the most exciting and rewarding experiences. Your brain floods you with dopamine, rewarding you for bonding with another person. But what happens when that relationship ends? Suddenly, you feel like you are in withdrawal. You crave their presence, their voice, their touch, just like a smoker craves a cigarette. Or let's talk about procrastination. On the surface, it seems harmless. But think about this. Every time you avoid a stressful task, your brain rewards you with relief. That relief becomes addictive. Before you know it, avoiding things becomes your default response, even when you know it is harming you. Even quitting something can feel like its own addiction. When you stop smoking, for example, you might find yourself constantly thinking about not smoking. You count the days since your last cigarette and obsess over your progress. This focus on avoiding the addiction becomes consuming in its own way. When addictions interact, here is something even more fascinating and dangerous. Addictions do not always exist in isolation. Sometimes they interact with each other and create a chain reaction. Let's look at gambling and substance abuse. Studies show that people with gambling addictions are more likely to develop problems with drugs or alcohol. Why? Because the stress of losing money creates anxiety, shame, and guilt. Substances offer temporary relief from those feelings, but they also deepen the cycle of dependency. It works the other way too. Someone struggling with substance abuse might turn to gambling as a distraction, only to find themselves trapped in another cycle. Addictions amplify each other. They feed on our vulnerabilities and create loops that are incredibly hard to escape. Modern life, built for addiction. Now let's zoom out and look at the world we live in today. Modern life is practically built to keep us addicted. Think about how your day starts. You wake up, reach for your phone, and start scrolling. Notifications light up your screen, each one giving you a little burst of dopamine. You tell yourself, just 5 more minutes, but before you know it, half an hour has passed. Streaming platforms autoplay the next episode so you never have to decide what to watch. Fast food is engineered to make you crave more with every bite. And video games keep you hooked with endless challenges and rewards. None of this is accidental. Companies understand how our brains work. They know how to tap into our reward systems to keep us coming back for more. It is smart, but also terrifying. The longer we stay in these loops, the harder it becomes to break free. How do we break free? So what can we do? If everything has the potential to become an addiction, how do we take control of our lives? First, we need to understand the difference between healthy habits and harmful addictions. A habit is something you do regularly because it is enjoyable or useful. An addiction, on the other hand, is something that controls you. It is when you feel like you have to do it, even when it hurts you. If you love social media, that is fine, but do not let it take over your day. Turn off notifications, set time limits, and focus on real-world connections. Finally, seek balance. Life is not about avoiding everything. It is about enjoying the things you love without letting them consume you. Too much of anything, even something good, can become harmful. So, is everything in life an addiction? Maybe not everything, but a lot of things have the potential to be. It all depends on how much power we give them over our lives. The key is balance. Enjoy the things you love, but don't let them control you. Life is meant to be lived, not chased. Thank you for watching this episode of Science Popcorn. If this video made you think, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Are we all just addicted to something? Or is there more to this story? Stay curious, and I will see you in the next video.